What are the diabetes health checks you need to be having? Let's jump in and find out. Number one, the HbA1c. The HbA1c test is kind of the gold standard when it comes to diabetes care. Although there are now technologies that allow us to look in more depth at what your glucose levels are doing, such as the Freestyle Libre and the Dexcom, this isn't widely available to everyone, and so HbA1c still remains generally the most commonly used measure of glucose levels for type 2 diabetes. The HbA1c basically measures the amount of glucose that has attached itself to your red blood cells over the period of 3 months. We can then test this and see basically how glucose, sugary or sticky your red blood cells are, and pull a value out to see how well your glucose levels have been managed over the last 3 months. The reason it's 3 months is because that's how long it takes for your body to recycle red blood cells. We've done videos on HbA1c in the past, so if you want more information on that, by all means, check it out on the channel and see what HbA1c means to you. Because it's a 3-month test, it means you shouldn't be having this more regularly than every 3 months, otherwise you'll have some crossover from your previous results. As a rule, this will generally be an annual check, but some patients can have it more regularly depending on where you are with your diabetes.
2. Blood pressure.
Normally when it comes to diabetes complications, one of the big hitters tends to be the cardiovascular complications that comes with it. This is because glucose is damaging to the blood vessels and it can cause plaques to form in the blood vessels, which then restricts flow of your blood and therefore pressure begins to build, and this is when we see high blood pressure. Also, glucose, because it's a solute, it attracts water and therefore a larger circulating volume of water may be available in the body, which then obviously increases the volume of blood in your blood vessels and thus increases the pressure even further. As a result, blood pressure is one of the key markers of health that your doctor or diabetes specialist nurse will be interested in when checking out how well you're doing with your overall health and particularly your diabetes management. And therefore blood pressure is very important to keep on top of and have monitored regularly. Number 3, cholesterol. When you have too much cholesterol, it can become stuck and damage the blood vessels, and as a result also form plaques, which ultimately then leads to increasing blood pressure, which then increases the risks of things like stroke and heart attack. Because of these risks, generally what we like to see is a cholesterol level, total cholesterol level below 4. For the general population, this will be below 5. So we actually try to treat cholesterol levels to target a bit lower than we would the general population because of the risks attached. Number 4, eye screen. One of the most important checks when it comes to diabetes is the eyes. Retinopathy is one of the most common complications associated with diabetes, and when people are surveyed, it's also one of the most feared. Each year you should be invited to have your eyes examined and photographed to make sure there's no background retinopathy or that the damage that might already exist is getting worse. When it comes to retinopathy, what happens is glucose gets into the blood vessels of the eye, which starts to build pressure. This can damage the retina and also cause the blood vessels to rupture, which then results in damage being caused to the eye, and this can result to eyesight damage and in severe cases blindness. Therefore, it's super important that you keep up to date with your eye screens, and if you haven't heard about one in recent times, make sure that you're following this up to ensure that you're getting what you're entitled to. Number 5, kidney screen. A simple blood test can tell your healthcare team whether or not there's any impairment to your kidneys. Diabetes-related kidney damage is one of the major risks when it comes to running high glucose levels for a prolonged period of time. The blood test will show at what percentage your kidneys are functioning, and that can be given to you in a simple figure. And also it can test other things such as albumin-creatinine ratio or creatinine, which essentially sees how much solutes and proteins are leaking through the kidneys, if at all. If you think of your kidney as almost like a sieve, and usually just the right amount of stuff is getting out of the kidneys, with some being reabsorbed for later. Examples of this will be things like sodium, potassium, and protein. When it comes to diabetes-related kidney damage, what happens is, if you picture the same sieve, imagine poking some holes through the sieve. So some is still being filtered, but now you're losing more than you should. In severe cases, if you just cut the sieve off entirely, you then have a scenario where you may have kidney failure, and the amount of losses is actually excessive. At this point, patients might need to actually have external assistance, such as dialysis, to help them filter the solutes in their blood appropriately. Number 6, foot screen. So we've established glucose in high amounts can be damaging to your body. One of the main things that it does damage is the vascular system. So thinking about circulation, but also your nerves and your nervous system. With high glucose levels for a long time, one of the main concerns is damage to the peripheries, the furthest point away from the heart, which tends to be the feet. So your healthcare team will often be talking to you about making sure that your foot health is in good condition. People that have ran high glucose levels for a number of years may start to lose sensation to the feet and circulation, blood supply to the feet, where normally nutrients and oxygen would be delivered to those sections of the body, and as a result that helps them to regenerate, restore, and give them everything that they need. But if there's a problem with the vascular supply, then this process can't happen. Also, if there's damage to the nerves, the sensation is lost, and therefore this leaves people susceptible to injuring their feet. You may have heard of your healthcare team talking about not walking around barefoot, and this is because if you've lost sensation, you can get little nicks and cuts on your feet, which can then lead to infection, and this is when it can become a serious problem, and in some cases, amputation. Therefore, really good foot health is really important, making sure that you're addressing any hard skin, managing your nails, and if you're having issues with your feet, having regular chiropody or podiatry appointments. As part of this whole process though, you should also be invited to an annual foot screen each year as part of your diabetes health check. So again, if that's not something that's happened, make sure you follow it up and check in with your healthcare team as soon as possible. So there you have it guys, 6 healthcare checks that you should be entitled to, you should be getting invited to, and if you're not, please follow them up, they're really important. Thanks for watching guys. As always, if you need an extra helping hand, head over to diabetesdietguide.com. We got free programs talking about diabetes and general lifestyle, and also offer consultancy services where we'll work with you one-to-one, try and get you where you want to be. Fill out the inquiry form and tell us your story. Obviously like, subscribe and share the video, gets us up that YouTube algorithm, gets us in front of more people, which means we can help more people like yourself. We'll see you later. Have a good one.